Dr. Afghan is urging all citizens to take responsibility for their own safety and preparedness while assuring that the government will also play its part. In a national address delivered on June 1st, Prime Minister Gonsalves noted that there will be fewer emergency shelters available this year. However, he emphasized that contingency plans are in place should additional shelters become necessary.
We have done the shelter inspection. We have 140 shelters listed for 2025 season. And while we have a reduced number, it doesn't mean that there would not be enough places for persons to go to. And just last week, I had a meeting with the director of NEMO, Michelle Forbes, who's doing a fantastic job, and with her permanent secretary, very good woman too. And I had a long conversation in their presence on the phone with Bragsa about certain things which need to be done. Some are going on, but some further things need to be done. Sometimes I feel sorry for Bragsa, but that's why we create them, to do the work which we have to do.
This year's hurricane season is forecast to be more active than usual, according to experts at the Colorado State University. The 2025 season is expected to produce 17 named storms, 11 hurricanes, and 5 major hurricanes of Category 3 or above. Prime Minister Gonsalves reminded citizens of the importance of personal responsibility, including securing their homes, stocking up on essential supplies, and staying informed through official channels.
Heavy rainfall, rough seas. You have your house in seawater mouth. You have to be mindful of that. To galvanize them in nail long properly, you have to be mindful of that. You have to address your own vulnerability, and the state has assistance to give you. For instance, if you live near to a river or near to a sea, how are you affected? You live on a hillside, prone to landslides. Can your home withstand a storm? You have to ask yourself these questions. And remember that God helps those who help themselves.
The Atlantic hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th. More than 5,000 people affected by Hurricane Beryl have finally received financial support from the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The payouts were distributed last week, just ahead of the official start of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season on June 1st. Prime Minister Dr. Afghan, in an address to the nation marking the beginning of the hurricane season, confirmed that despite logistical and financial challenges, the government was able to provide payments to affected residents across the islands.
Wednesday gone, we paid out monies to approximately 5,000 persons. And on Friday, we also paid. We had paid from January to the end of March. So on Wednesday, we paid for April. But we had about 800 persons who came on after March.
The Prime Minister also noted that it remains uncertain whether the financial support program will be extended beyond the end of June.
It was $400 one time. And then yesterday, Friday, last week, Friday just gone here, they got, of course, the additional 600 for the month of May. At the same time, when the other 4,000 and something got for the month of May. We are running this to the end of June, Don't know how, if we're going to have enough resources to carry it beyond June, because I have to bear in mind that I have a big back to school in September, where some of the same persons will get help for the children for back to school. So I just give you a broad idea as to what we have been doing and the kind of resources that you require.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister announced that a separate round of payments will be made next week to farmers and fishers who are also severely impacted by the hurricane.
This week coming up, we should be seeing about 3,000 something farmers and fishers getting some money. Sabota told me it's to give each of them about $1,000. Again, that's a big number. And so on and so forth. But while we're doing our part, the government, you have to do your part.
Hurricane Beryl struck St. Vincent and the Grenadines on July 1st, 2024 as a powerful Category 4 storm. The southern Grenadines were particularly hard hit with widespread damage to homes, infrastructure, agricultural land and fishing equipment. Recovery and rebuilding efforts are ongoing across the island nation. The SVG Indian Heritage Foundation has commemorated the 164th anniversary of the arrival of Indians to St. Vincent and the Grenadines with a reenactment ceremony at Indian Bay on Sunday. Speaking at the beachside celebrations, President of the Foundation, Junior Bacchus, emphasized the importance of educating the public, particularly the younger generation, about the history of Indian arrival and contributions to the country. He also highlighted that St. Vincent and the Grenadines continue to enjoy a society free of racial division.
And I want our younger Indians to understand where we all came from. I want you to understand the struggles we had to go through. Life under colonialism was never easy. It was colonialism in India and it was here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Since then, I am proud to say that the Indian community, the blacks and the Portuguese and all others who have been able to live together in harmony in this country are proud neighbors and friends. Unlike some of our Caribbean islands, I can say St. Vincent and the Grenadines have displayed very little, if any, racial tension over the period of our Indians here.
Several dignitaries attended the Indian Arrival Day ceremony, including Prime Minister Dr. Alf Gonsalves. In his remarks, the Prime Minister underscored the value of learning from modern civilizations and preserving the cultural contributions of all ethnic groups, not just regionally, but specifically in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Pluralization which has taken place. What is very interesting is that we have reached at a point of such certainty, and this is a wonderful thing, that we arrived at this creolized symphony, that we don't feel that it is divisive at all to highlight Kalinago and Garifuna contribution, to highlight African contribution, to highlight Indian contribution, because by highlighting those things, we are not diluting this integration which we have. What we are doing, in fact, is making that creolized integrative whole stronger, because that whole is more than a summation of the individual parts. It has to do with the way in which we have learned from one another and we have come together, and the processes by which we have come together have added more than the individual parts.
Opposition leader Dr. Godwin Friday also addressed the gathering. He called on all citizens, including those of Indian descent, to reject any form of ethnic division and to work together in unity.
You have sought to sow seeds of division among us and try to split us into fenced camps, whether by ethnicity, political allegiance, or religious beliefs. We must reject such attempts by those who will build fences rather than pathways, who preach hate rather than love, who see race and ethnicity before they see people. By nationality, we are all one people. And despite our different religions, we are, in God, one people, all God's children. It is therefore our calling and duty to look after one another, to be kind and generous with one another. My friends, such thinking is not weakness, but strength. Love may be a four-letter word, but it is not a dirty word.
The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines officially recognized June 1st as a National Indian Arrival Day and October 7th as Indian Heritage Day through an Act of Parliament passed on March 26, 2007. A massive cloud of dust from the Sahara Desert blanketed most of the Caribbean today in the biggest event of its kind this year as it heads towards the United States. The cloud extended from some 2,000 miles from Jamaica to well past Barbados in the Eastern Caribbean and some 750 miles from Turks and Caicos Islands in the Northern Caribbean down south to Trinidad and Tobago. The hazy skies unleashed sneezes, coughs, and watery eyes across the Caribbean, with local forecasters warning that those with allergies, asthma, and other conditions should remain indoors or wear a face mask if outdoors. The dust concentration was high at 55 aerosol optical depth, the highest amount so far this year, said Zidias, a forecaster with the National Weather Service in San Juan, Puerto Rico. The aerosol optical depth measures how much direct sunlight is prevented from reaching the ground by particles, according to the U.S. National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. Local meteorological forecaster at the SVG Met Office, Gregory Cato, said there will be some thinning out of the haze by Tuesday evening. The plume is expected to hit Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi late this week and onto the weekend. The dry dust and dusty air, known as the Sahara air layer, forms over the Sahara Desert in Africa and moves west across the Atlantic Ocean starting around April until about October, according to NOAA. It also prevents tropical waves from forming during the Atlantic hurricane season, which runs from June 1st to November 30th. June and July usually have the highest dust concentration on average, with plumes traveling anywhere from 5,000 feet to 20,000 feet above the ground. In June 2020, a record-breaking cloud of Sahara dust smothered the Caribbean. The size and concentration of the plume hadn't been seen in half a century, prompting forecasters to nickname it the Godzilla dust cloud. The St. Vincent Electricity Services Limited VINLEC says it is currently undertaking remedial work to restore a recurring fault that has been affecting electricity supply to customers in several areas served by one of its distribution feeders. The affected areas include Mackey's Hill, including Spectacle Shop, Paulover, Triggeridge, Upper Richmond Hill, Dorsetia Hill, and Queens Drive. Over the past month, customers in these communities have experienced multiple power outages, including 3 incidents that occurred between the evening of May 31st and the morning of June 1st. According to the company, preliminary investigations suggest that strong winds may have caused electrical lines to clash, leading to faults along the feeder. In response, VINLEC installed fault indicators to help pinpoint the exact location of the issue. This enabled their technical teams to narrow down the affected area and carry out the necessary corrective work. Power has since been restored to all impacted communities. VINLEC says it understands the inconvenience caused by these disruptions and sincerely apologizes to all affected customers. The company reiterated its commitment to delivering safe and reliable electricity service Customers who continue to experience issues or observe any faults in their area are encouraged to contact Vinlex Emergency Response Team. Invest SVG has extended its gratitude to all partners and attendees for their contributions to what it described as an extremely successful diaspora outreach and investment program held throughout May. The initiative, a four-city tour themed Home is Where the Heart Is, concluded on May 17th in New York City after hosting a series of investment conferences in London, Toronto, and Washington, D.C. The tour was designed to educate and inspire members of the Vincentian diaspora to explore investment opportunities in their homeland. According to the agency, the events drew significant interest, attracting over 450 attendees in total. Invest SVG noted that diaspora members greatly appreciated the opportunity to engage directly with the government officials and to hear from keynote speakers, including the Minister of Finance, Camille Gonsalves, Minister of Housing, Orlando Brewster, and the Minister of National Mobilization, Kisal Peters, each who brought unique insights on investment prospects within their respective ministries. Highlighting its commitment for producing measurable and actionable outcomes, Invest SVG reported that the strong interest from the diaspora has already generated a promising pipeline of investment leads. The agency confirmed that approximately 10 of these leads are currently in discussions to establish businesses in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, spanning sectors such as tourism, healthcare, real estate, manufacturing, and creative industries. Invest SVG expressed hope that this initiative will continue to foster meaningful dialogue among Vincentians living abroad and reinforce the message that investment is not just for foreigners, it begins with our own people. In other news, the U.S.-based Not My Eyes Foundation donated $400 to the National Society of and for the Blind in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The overseas organization is led by Annabelle Smith, a visually impaired advocate who has been organizing events to raise funds for visually impaired communities across the Caribbean. Smith said that 2025 was chosen as a year to give back specifically to an organization in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Give back to the Caribbean islands. Each year we host a fashion show where we have notable, renowned designers, and each participant is either visually impaired or blind. This is our 4th year doing this, and we are more than happy to contribute to the National Society of the Blind for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It goes far to help the visually impaired and the blind community within this country, and it's in an amount of $4,055. Okay, so I pray that you guys that it will do you well and help the organization in whatever needs that you guys it will be assistance for you guys as well. So.
Receiving the donation was Danielle Chambers, president of the National Society of and for the Blind, who expressed gratitude and emphasized that the funds will be put to good use. He encouraged others, both locally and internationally, to get involved and support the work they are doing for the visually impaired community.
Well, sir.
Thank you very much. On behalf of National Society of and for the Blind, we want to thank you for your kind consideration. Also, I want to ask persons and persons who might be in America and who might hear about Not My Eyes, or they want to know about Not My Eyes, to contribute, and when they have their fashion shows to contribute, because it goes to a worthy cause. So I want to make that appeal, and just thanking Not My Eyes, the team and everyone for helping us, and we do intend to use these funds to the best of our ability to help our members and to do things that we have slated to be done. So thanks again, and we wish you all the best.